United States of America is saying about what is taking place in India. Now, the US State Department has released its report on human rights practices. Now, as per the report, US has in fact commented on what is taking place in India on our internal affairs, and has in fact spoken about Manipur in particular, and has urged further action on what exactly is taking place in the state. The report, which is mandated by the US Congress, also mentions raids by tax authorities against the office of the BBC, as well as the conviction and sentencing of 2 years of prison by a court in Gujarat against Rahul Gandhi. The report also mentions some key positive developments on the issue of human rights and freedom of expression, and has stated that the government of India in fact permitted a march in Srinagar. India has of course previously criticized such reports that have been published by other countries, specifically the United States of America. But the US this morning has also responded to certain concerns raised about this report from Indian journalists. Let's listen in to what the US State Department maintains.
As the US and India regularly consult at the highest levels on democracy and human rights issues, we strongly urge India to uphold its human rights obligations and commitments. We also regularly meet with civil society representatives both in the US and India to hear their perspectives, and those sorts of perspectives inform the Human Rights Report. And we encourage the government of India to consult and meet regularly with civil society organizations representing a diversity of people. So there are a number of steps. It remains a key component of our, not just our dialogue, but in terms of our engagement with India.
My colleague Nibir Deka joins us on the broadcast to share further details with regards to this report. Now, Nibir, what's really interesting is that the United States commentary on India is of course keeping in line with commentary that it's made earlier as well, especially with regards to what is taking place in Manipur. Now, what is happening there is an internal issue, yet the United States is reiterating its remarks. It is hell-bent, in fact, to reiterate and comment on what exactly is taking place inside India. Can you take our viewers through what exactly the US report has said?
Yes, indeed. The US State Department has released a country report on human rights practices in India. And the report has talked about what has happened in Srinagar. It has also talked about the tax raids on the authorities on the office of the BBC, as well as the convincing and sentencing of 2 years of prison by a court in Gujarat. But it also talked about Manipur, the incident that has happened in Manipur, the issue that has happened in Manipur since last year, wherein we saw instances of violence taking place in the state, and more than 170 plus people have died. And the US State Department has talked about the issue of Manipur in that particular report. But the very interesting fact here is that India has time and again maintained that this is an internal matter of the country. But here is again US trying to talk about the internal issues of India. And we saw again in the annual report, which is mandated by the US Congress, talking about the internal issues of the country. So this report comes again, it's another reminder of how the internal issues of the Indian of a country is being talked about by the US State Department. Back to you.
All right, Nibir, with that, I would like to thank you for joining us on the broadcast, sharing all those details. But also with us this morning is Mr. Sanjeev Sethi, International Affairs expert. Sir, good morning and thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Now, the United States of America has released a fresh report on what exactly is taking place in India. What do you make of this report, and why do you think they are consistently commenting on what are India's internal affairs rather than focusing on what is taking place in America? Do you think the timing of this report is a mere coincidence, considering that our general elections are taking place?
Well, first of all, a very good morning to you. Good morning to all the viewers. these issues, whether it is related to Manipur or any other issues which this report talks about, are entirely the internal matters of India. And no other countries in the world have any kind of locus standi, any kind of right to make such remarks about our internal affairs. And these are the matters which Indian government is dealing with its utmost sincerity, and law and order is very much prevailing there, and the situation has been improved with the efforts of the government of India. Yes, it was a very tragic development in Manipur, but the entire issue was dealt by the government of India and the local administration there in Manipur with utmost sincerity and with utmost responsibility. And India is the largest democracy in the planet, and we are a law-abiding country. We are very much, we defend the human rights wherever, if it is, being, it comes under threat. So I think India has done its best, and we will continue doing our best to deal with effectively with our internal matter, quote unquote. So I think that's what India has done. But it is unfortunate that such comments are being made by from certain quarters, and these are obviously not acceptable at all. And I think, Pia, I would like to say here that now time has come that India should also come up with its own reports. And these kind of such reports are obviously many times we see are biased reports, and it does not reflect the true picture of the entire situation. So I think India being a very big emerging power, I think it is time that we come up with our own report, and also we should come up with the reports of the events of the international community, which obviously includes United States of America and European countries. So I think we have seen such reports coming from different quarters in the international community. Obviously, such reports are not acceptable here, but we should also have some assessment. And let me say at the last of it that United States of America does have its issues, and India does not make any comment on the United States of American issues, whether it is issues related to racial discrimination or gun violence or any other kind of issues in their political circles. No comments are made officially by Indian government. So I think India has a policy of non-interference in the affairs of the other countries, and we also expect the same from the US and other countries. So that is what I would say. But again, I would highlight that it is now time has come that some of our institutions in India, some of independent institutions may also come up with the various reports which demonstrate, which clearly reflect the India's growth and development, and also such reports must contain the developments in the international community too. So I think that is what would be the appropriate response. But yeah, it is unfortunate that such remarks have been made in this report about India, which is an entirely internal affair and which is totally not acceptable. India is very much capable of dealing with its internal issues, and we have taken responsible steps. And such issues do come up in every country. United States of America is no exception. Such issues, such problems are faced by every country in the world. But it is, I think, responsibility of the international community, especially the governments of the world, that they do not, make remarks about other issues, and that is against a kind of rules which we have set through UN Charter. And India believes in this policy of non-interference in other affairs. And I believe that, I hope that such remarks, countries will refrain from making such remarks about the internal affairs of India. That is what my expectation would be.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.